There's been a furious response from victims and families to the sentence imposed on Khmer Rouge prison boss Kaing Guek Eav. 31 years after the end of the regime, an international court has delivered a guilty verdict against this first leader to be tried. Known as Duch, he was the head of the notorious torture centre S21, where up to 15,000 people were incarcerated and exterminated. But even though Duch was found guilty, he may walk free in his lifetime. Southeast Asia correspondent Zoe Daniel reports from Phnom Penh.
31 years after he walked free from S21, Nuong Chanpal went to court and saw justice served. When he was only 9 years old, he and his brother were jailed along with their parents. They survived, but he never saw his father or his mother again.
I saw her 2 or 3 times, and then when I looked back at her again, she disappeared.
Only 7 people survived the torture centre, and today they and relatives of the dead have finally seen a murderer punished. Prison boss Kaing Guek Eav, known as Comrade Duch, admits he oversaw the killing of up to 15,000 people. Supposed enemies of the state, most were horrifically tortured, bashed to death and buried in mass graves. Now the man who ordered their death has been convicted of crimes against humanity, extermination, torture, persecution and enslavement.
The chamber finds Kaing Guek Eav guilty.
Taking into account time already spent in prison, Comrade Duch will spend another 19 years in jail. Conceivably, that means that he could be released within his lifetime, although he'd be well into his 80s. Some Cambodians may question the length of the sentence because some are already asking why the court couldn't impose a death penalty. In fact, once it sank in that a 35-year sentence would amount to less than 2 decades in prison, some observers broke down.
I expected life in prison because I lost my older sister in S21 and she was raped.
Chum May survived 2 years of torture in Duch's prison, only to see his wife and child shot and killed by his jailers. He seemed dumbfounded by the sentence, which took into account the executioner's apology and regret.
There is no justice for me. Duch cried tears before, now I can cry. I know how to do that too.
Prosecutors say they'll look at the reasons behind the sentence reduction before they consider an appeal. But 1.7 million people died of torture and starvation under the extreme communist ideology of the Khmer Rouge, and Comrade Duch was not the mastermind. With leader Pol Pot dead, attention will turn to the next case, and whether 4 higher-level Khmer Rouge leaders will also be prosecuted before the aged and ailing defendants are dead. Among them a former Prime Minister, Khieu Samphan, and the second in charge of the Khmer Rouge, Nuon Chea. Despite allegations the Cambodian government has been undermining the court, prosecutors say there's been no direct interference and they will push on.
I am extremely confident that if there is an indictment against these 4 senior leaders in September, that there'll be a trial starting in early next year.
For today, though, it's about the victims of Comrade Duch.
I cannot forget it, but I can release a small part of the pain.
And hopefully, so can a damaged nation. Zoe Daniel, Lateline.